Everybody, and thank you for joining today's webinar, the final countdown to ETAs. My name is Michelle, and I'm just here to get things started before passing things off to our expert, Mark. So for those of you who aren't familiar with WordStream, we make it very easy for you to achieve success through some free and also some paid tools for paid search and social marketing. So if you have any more questions about these topics following today's webinar, absolutely head to our website and you will find tons of resources for you there. So now, without further ado, I would like to introduce our presenter, Mark. So Mark is going to go through lots of powerful insight today, but don't stress if you feel like there's so much content. We will be sending you an email that has the slides and the recording of today's webinar, so you'll be able to share all of Mark's insight. Mark is a senior data scientist here at WordStream. He has 4 years in paid search experience, and he was voted the 14th most influential PPC expert of 2016. Mark loves ETAs, so I will just let him get straight to it.
Awesome. Thanks, Michelle. And so thank you all for attending today as well. Obviously, we sent you a lot of emails about this. We've been talking about this for a long time now, to the point that a lot of people might say, like, well, geez, guys, like, what's the big deal with ETAs anyways? So let's talk about it. Again, one of my favorite things to talk about, ETAs. What's the big deal? Well, the big deal is that the ads that you've written in AdWords for the past 16 years, basically since the beginning of AdWords, if you've ever created an ad there, you've written this kind of standard text ad your entire career. It follows that 25-character headline and then 35 characters of description line 1, description line 2, display URL, all that stuff. If you've done paid search, you know it well. Well, over the summer, Google introduced this new ad format, this expanded text ad format. And just looking at it real quickly, we see major differences. First of all, it's obviously considerably larger. That headline that we've been accustomed to being 25 characters is now 30 characters. And there's also this brand new second headline in here, which gives us 30 more characters to play with. That display URL now has 2 15-character URL paths. So you still keep your domain name, but you have a total of 30 new characters to play with in your display URL. And then an 80-character description field, which is 10 more than the 35 and 35 description lines 1 and 2 that you had previously. And so what the big deal about ETAs is the fact that ETAs are quite literally a big deal. They're 47% bigger. So that gives us so much more opportunity to say more things with our ads. One of the biggest inconveniences people have had with ads and AdWords for the longest time is that there was never enough room to say everything you want to say about your business in a 90-character ad. Here we have 47% more space to really highlight what's unique about our offer and our business. And very simply, when you see these expanded text ads on the SERP, when you see them side by side with a standard text ad, your eyes are immediately drawn to that larger ad without even specifying, like, okay, there's an ad format over here and here's an expanded text ad format on the right. Your ads are going to be drawn on both desktop and mobile to that expanded text ad because they physically take up more room on the SERP and push your competitors that much further down on the SERP. And as you'd expect, these larger ads, because they draw your attention so well, we're seeing that most advertisers are seeing gains in their click-through rate of about 28% on average. But some advertisers are seeing considerably larger gains. Here in this graph, we see an advertiser doubled or more than doubled their click-through rate just by adopting this expanded text ad. But there are still tons of more examples of clients who have gone in and replaced their standard text ads with expanded text ads and seen their click-through rate triple or even quadruple in some cases. And so ETAs, they really sound great. They're really working for so many people, and a lot of advertisers have real potential to increase their click-through rates just by adding these new expanded text ads to their account. So what's the catch? Why is this webinar longer than 10 minutes? Right, ETAs? Well, the big catch to all of this is the fact that your standard text ads are going to disappear soon. For the longest time, we've had 16 years to play around with these standard text ads. We've gotten real familiar with them. Unfortunately, it's time to say goodbye. And so today, the 25th, by next Tuesday, the January 31st, is going to be the last day that we'll ever be able to create or edit an existing standard text ad within AdWords. Moving forward, come February 1st, the only thing that we'll ever be able to create in AdWords is going to be these expanded text ads. Now, the good news to all of this is, although that is shocking, it's a very short time frame for people, right now what we're seeing is that 70% of accounts already use ETAs. So most people out there are using ETAs, and if you're not, you're kind of in the minority. You're a late adopter. There's nothing wrong with being a late adopter, but there were a lot of gains to being an early mover here. And as you wait more and more, you're going to see a lot of those gains begin to diminish. Now, having one ETA in your account does not mean that you're fully migrated or that you're fully taking advantage of this, but we still do see that having even just one ETA in your account can make a big difference. That, particularly if that one ETA is in a very high volume, very high traffic ad group, we see that in most people's accounts, a very small number of ad groups drive the majority of the traffic. That top 10% of all ad groups drive about 93% of all traffic to people's sites. So really, if you focus on just getting, as you begin to make this migration, getting ETAs in those top ad groups, you can be very successful, even if you don't have it done in all of your ad groups. Of course, the end goal is going to be to have ETAs in all of your ad groups. And it's very easy, again, if you have a larger account, to not be able to make that migration or not know right away whether or not you have an ETA in all of these ad groups. And for that, we have a special tool, our WordStream Performance Grader. It's available at wordstream.com/Google AdWords. And from there, it's going to give you a number of metrics, a lot of performance ideas as to what's going on in your account and how you can improve. And one of the things it's really going to highlight is how deep or how far along in your migration you are to exclusively expand text ads. And it'll give you a score just based off of how many ad groups have an ETA in them. So I know, as I manage a portfolio of clients and as I manage larger clients, that very simply, if I have 10,000 ad groups, I know that naturally I'm going to forget to create an ETA in at least one or two. And this is going to tell me exactly where those ad groups are so that I can better project manage my time. And of course, we're talking about a short time frame here to make that migration before standard text ads go away. What happens if you don't migrate to ETAs? Is going to be the pushback I hear very frequently from clients. And again, we're a week out from standard text ads no longer being able to be created. And so not only are you in the minority there, you're not going to see the click-through rate gains that 70% of advertisers who have created ETAs are going to see. But come February 1st, every time that you go about changing your ad copy, it's going to become a considerably more challenging process moving forward for you. That for the longest time, when you needed to make a small change in your ad copy, if you needed to change out a promotion you were running, or a sale that you were running, or you need to change your destination URL, you're doing a website upgrade, or you wanted to try a new landing page, any number of tests you have going on in your account, previously with your standard text ads, all you needed to do is you needed to change that one line of text, or that one description text, or that one display text. Moving forward, that's not going to be possible. That if you needed to make that small change in your ad copy come February 1st, you're also going to have to write in effectively a brand new ad. You're going to have to write in a headline too, and Google is not going to allow you to make small changes in your account without writing these ETAs. So if you plan to continue to do AdWords in 2017, ETAs are effectively a must. And although most people, when they make this migration to ETAs, most people are seeing considerable click-through rate gains, there are some people in that cohort that are seeing their click-through rate decrease. And in large part, a lot of these people are making that migration for the first time and are making it quickly and make simple newbie mistakes. So what I really want to focus on for a good portion of today's webinar is best practices for how to write successful ETAs so that you see that click-through rate gain that so many others see. And the biggest piece of advice, if you walk away with anything from today, I want you to use this opportunity when you're doing the migration to consider writing new ads in this ad format, not just writing in a second headline. I know the temptation is there to just add in a second headline, that's all Google is requiring you to do, but really use this as an opportunity. Google, when they first presented these expanded text ads, fell for the same trap, that all they did when they presented this Guitar Center standard text ad alongside this Guitar Center expanded text ad is that expanded text ad includes a second headline, the destination for music gear. And we see generally that people who follow that kind of migration of just adding in additional words into a second headline are the ones who are most likely to see click-through rate decreases during the migration. So when you're making this migration, really consider looking at your best performing ads and trying to use language that you see already works well in the account and try and mimic that. And so if you're currently sitting at your computer and you're not sure what your best performing ad in your account is, be it on desktop or be it on mobile, you really need to understand how users are interacting with your ads and what language really resonates with your searchers, please, same tool, that WordStream Google AdWords Grader, available at wordstream.com/Google AdWords. It will bubble up, amongst other things, your best performing ad in terms of click-through rate and conversion rate on desktop and on mobile. So you can exactly see which ads, what language is successful in your account. But so as you're doing this, be sure to test out new ad copy. We have a client here, namely, and they sell HR software. And they're very successful in AdWords. However, if there's no one on this webinar that's really excited to read or hear about HR software, don't worry, you're not alone. It's a pretty hard industry to write really sexy, captivating ad copy for, particularly in 90 characters. And that's been namely the struggle with AdWords for the longest time, that it's very difficult to write an exciting call to action or really sell that product with 90 characters. The expanded text ad, they use that additional copy to write new language into their ads that specifically highlighted new features and value props to their software. So rather than just telling them that they sold onboarding software, they highlighted that it was easy, paperless onboarding. Hiring is just difficult, onboarding should be easy, schedule your demo today. And so all that did is it instilled these emotions in the user who is searching. Yeah, hiring is difficult. It is not fun, but onboarding should be easy. What they saw is this migration, they quadrupled their click-through rate just by writing in this new ad. And so really use the expanded text ad format to consider the language that you include in your ad. Very simple transformations can have very high click-through rates. So there are a few really easy go-tos that can increase your click-through rate here. If you're looking at your existing standard text ads and you want to make this migration, rather than immediately pitching your product, rather than shoving that keyword in there and saying you're searching for used textbooks, buy used textbooks, begin by starting a conversation. Why pay full price? Buy used and saved. we see that that kind of language does really well, particularly people who use headline 1 to ask a question and use headline 2 to answer it. People are expecting Google to be a source for answers, and that provides it. Particularly as you talk about users who are beginning to use things like voice search and situational search. Google is going to need to be more conversational, and expanded text ads answer that conversation need for them. We've always used FOMO, or the fear of missing out, to create urgency when we say that the sale ends soon, or reserve today, or book now, or something like that in our ads. But now with expanded text ads, we have some opportunity to actually include some more details about how soon, or why book now, or give some kind of real fear of missing out, some real urgency in our expanded text ads. So in particular, one thing that's been super great is that the expanded text ads have that native countdown built directly into it. You don't even need to even use ad customizers to create a countdown ad anymore. So if you want to write that the sale ends in X number of days, 5 days, 4 days, 3 hours, whatever, you could straight up use language that sale ends in and then have it count down for you until when that sale ends, or when your booking ends, or when classes start, or when registration ends. From there, Google will actually physically update your ad dynamically based off of how many days are left. So you don't even need to create one that says sale ends in 10 days, sale ends in 9 days, sale ends in 3 hours, sale ends in 2 hours. Google's going to make those updates for you so that you don't need to. And we're seeing considerable click-through rate gains from anyone who's using those kind of countdowns. And then finally, avoid meaningless call to actions. We've all been told to end our ads with call to actions. That's still a best practice, but this is a good time to review what your call to action is. No one really believes that a free trial or a free demo or a free white paper is all that successful a call to action anymore. That those kinds of languages have been used so much with us over the past decade or so that we're attuned to them and we can kind of turn them off or in our mind. So really consider highlighting unique value props instead. Really highlight that easy paperless onboarding anywhere, anytime. Play to the user's needs and really give them a reason why they should interact with your ad versus everyone else on the SERP who's offering some kind of free trial or free demo. We're seeing that that's also helping a lot of people be successful in this migration, see those massive click-through rate jumps. Next best practice, these expanded text ads have these new path fields. They are optional. Use them. For the longest time, we've had these domain names. Your domain name is automatically imported into the ad now, so you don't need to go in and write that. But here, use those 2 keyword path fields after the domain name. Include some top keywords, or include some things that users would be interested in knowing about. So if you want to highlight a sale, send them to a sale page. Or if you want someone searching for used books, send them to a path field that includes used books. Not only is that going to help resonate with the user, but it's also going to help your ad serve as more relevant to what Google considers as relevant to the user's search. That's going to increase your click-through rate, but it's also going to increase your quality score. And it's just going to make your ads perform better overall. So although these URL path fields are optional, still highly encourage you to use them. Finally, using ad customizers to create mobile preferred ETAs. And so if there's one reason people are struggling with the migration to ETAs, we're seeing them struggle a whole lot more on mobile than they are on desktop. And a lot of that comes from the fact that for the past 3 years or so, if we want to create a mobile standard text ad, that was a very easy process for us. When we were creating a standard text ad and we wanted it to be served only on mobile devices, we would just checkbox that one mobile device preference right there. But when ETAs were launched, they were most notably launched without that mobile device preference. So right now, the ETAs you create are served on all devices, regardless. That's obviously putting some people in a pickle because there's tons of reasons why you would want to use different language for your mobile searchers. Obviously, you don't want to tell your mobile users to download a white paper or visit your site and learn more, or something that's going to be a pretty desktop-focused search. You might want to send your mobile users a different call to action, such as call us now or receive a call or something like that. Speak to them on their phones. And so if you wanted to create a mobile preferred ETA, the option technically does exist. It's just hidden. If you were to go into your business data, you could create a feed specifically about that mobile preferred language you wanted to serve. And so here, if we were just to create a data feed and title it something like mobile ETAs, we would automatically effectively create the equivalent of an Excel doc or Google Sheets doc and have our ads reference that. And so we would create that mobile ETAs feed, and we'd specify the language here. If we want to have that language differ in headline 1, we'd write that specific mobile language versus that desktop language, the target campaign and ad group of that ad, and then a column for device preference. And we'd use the same language that we used in our standard text ads of all versus mobile. And from here, we could create a headline that referenced this feed so that on mobile devices, it would borrow that headline, call for a free quote in minutes, whereas on desktop devices or on tablet devices, it would still read as the get a free quote right now kind of language. And from there, it would automatically serve depending on what devices people were searching on. So we can still use our mobile language in our ETAs. It's just a little bit more difficult, and it's a little out of the way to set this up. So please, I encourage you, particularly if you're seeing your transition struggle on the mobile side, that you're seeing your click-through rate go down on mobile, this is likely going to be a cure solution to that. Next, be sure to revisit your ad extensions. And this is, kind of out of sight, out of mind for a lot of people, particularly as they're writing their ETAs. They're not thinking about their ad extensions. But it's very likely that your ad extensions, when you created them, be it last month or last year or whenever, you use your ad extensions to say more. So you had this standard text ad, it only had 90 characters in it. You use your extensions to offer more information to people who are searching. That's why you create ad extensions. But now that your ad itself likely says more things, you do run the risk that some of those callouts in your new ad, be it in that second headline, be it in the path field, or in that expanded description text, are going to be the same kinds of language that you used in your ad extensions. What will happen in that case is Google won't serve redundant or repetitive ad extensions. That Google's not interested in serving the same kind of used book language multiple times if it can avoid it, or the student save 20% kind of language multiple times if it can avoid it. So make sure that after you create your ETAs that you go in and review your ad extensions to make sure that you're using different language between the two. It's completely fine if you're using the language in your ad extensions, in your standard text ad. That's probably a good place to borrow language as you're creating your expanded text ads, but just go in and make sure that these are different offers, or at least slightly different offers from those created within your actual text ads themselves. Then, fifth big suggestion is not to forget about Bing. This is true across the entire industry. Bing is often a second thought for a lot of advertisers. I know that when I'm in AdWords, I spend 8 hours a day in AdWords. I don't spend a repetitive 8 hours a day in Bing. Well, Bing also has expanded text ads, and you also should be considering making that migration to expanded text ads in Bing. Frustration there is that obviously, if you have 10 campaigns in AdWords and 100 ads in AdWords that this is a separate 100 ads in Bing that you now have to create as well. Well, good news is that you can import your ETAs from Google into Bing automatically, and Bing is prepared to handle that migration very easily. And in fact, as of yesterday, Bing recently released this new feature, the scheduled imports. And so this will allow Bing to automatically run those imports for you. So if you forget on Friday to update your changes to Bing that you made in Google, Bing will automatically update that for you. So highly encourage it. Check it out. Consider importing your changes from Google to Bing. Have that run on a weekly or a monthly basis. That way your Bing accounts are always up to date without you necessarily having to go in and make those changes manually. And so obviously this is a lot of work regardless of how you approach this. There are luckily a number of tools, a number of solutions to help you make this migration quickly, easily, and not stress you out. Obviously we've only got a week left to make this migration, so let's make this a smooth one. Of course, as you're planning this, if you've currently started, great. If you haven't started and you plan to start, also great. That tool, like I said earlier, the AdWords grader, it will allow you to see exactly how far along you are in this migration. And if you're towards the end, it will highlight exactly how many you have left to do. I use it to plan my accounts, particularly in this last week. I really just want to get all of them to 100% so that I'm not hitting a roadblock come February. But if you're just making this change now, or you're an agency and you have to make this change quickly across a number of accounts, I feel you. I'm in the same situation, to be honest. There are scripts out there specifically to help you with this. Google ad developers have created this expanded text ad transition helper script. And so if you're new to scripts, welcome, but this one is very simple to use. Where it lives is under bulk operations scripts. If you hit that big red button for plus script, and then all you're going to be doing is you're going to be copying and pasting the script from that link provided. Don't need to change anything to the script. If you're not a coder, if you're not an engineer, do not worry. You can copy and paste, and this is very simple. This has been debugged by Google so many times. I've run it without any problems, and I imagine, and I'm not all that technical either, copy and paste it, run that script. When you run that script, Google is going to create this Google Sheet for you. It's going to look exactly like an Excel doc. And it's going to take your headline from your standard text ads and make that headline one. It'll merge your two description lines into that description text. And from here, all Google is going to ask you to do is to create a headline too. So if we were to just go in and create a second headline for all of these ads, or if we wanted to have that headline be the same across all of these ads, that option exists to us. We can also go and specify path fields from here. When we run it again, Google will make that ETA format go live just as we've written it. And then this is a very fast, very easy way to make that migration quickly. So if you're currently looking at 6 days to make this change and you're beginning to sweat a little bit, this will help you get out of that. So you don't need to necessarily go in and make hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of ads. This will take your existing standard text ads and help you migrate them over to the ETA format. Now, that still does involve you writing that second headline in there. If you're out of creativity, if you simply don't have the time, or you don't want to think about writing a brand new ad and have your ad show up differently and do this A/B test format, there is kind of a hack to avoiding this migration. And so your standard text ads on the SERP, right now if you research it, and for the past couple of months, if you were to search your standard text ads, you would notice that your domain name is appended before your headline. Very similarly, you could add in your domain name as your headline 1 to an expanded text ad, and then just use your headline as headline 2, and your ads won't change how they look on the SERP. Consequently, you're going to see your click-through rates, your conversion rate, all of those are going to remain the same between your standard text ad and your expanded text ads. Although that will not help you increase your click-through rates, and you will not see the same gains that everyone else saw from making this migration, it at least does help you make the migration so that your account management standpoint, you can continue to work as you typically would come February. So as we talk about February, obviously we have to talk about when to say goodbye to your standard text ads. So the good news here is that although come next week we are no longer going to be able to create standard text ads ever again, that last date to create or edit standard text ads is January 31st, your standard text ads will continue to run after February 1st. So as you might be testing your expanded text ads, we still encourage you to keep your standard text ads alive until you're fully confident that your expanded text ads perform better. Like any A/B ad test going on in your account, it's very possible that your new ads might not beat your existing ads. And so it's very possible that your expanded text ads might not perform as well as your standard text ads. I encourage people as they make this migration to launch your expanded text ads alongside your standard text ads and let the performance metrics tell you when to pause your standard text ads. Once you're confident that your expanded text ads perform better in click-through rate, conversion rate, on desktop, on mobile, when you're very confident with the fact that these larger ads are performing as they should, that's when we should consider pausing your standard text ads. And then once you do that, congratulations, you've made the migration successfully, and I hope you've made that migration easily. So thank you guys. I really wish the best for people who are looking to do this. I know it's been a lot of work for me and all of my team here. I shouldn't take credit for all of that, but over the past couple of months making this migration, and I hope that your migration goes similarly well.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mark. Thanks so much for all that insight. And as Mark said, this is definitely a big undertaking. So hopefully you can use all the information Mark gave you today and along with some other great resources that WordStream provides. So that's all the time we have for today. Thank you again to Mark, and thank you all for joining us.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.